What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. My name is Braden Carlson.
My name is Taylor.
My name is Shane, or as you might know me, Postart.
My name is Brahm Soltes.
That's right, folks. We have a guest for you today. So, Brahm, if you're from, we talked about this before the podcast, Esra or Ezra. There's not really a clear answer there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to say Esra because that's what I pronounce it as, but I could be totally wrong.
And IREC, that's an easy one to pronounce correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
You're like, it's actually IREC.
Yeah, it could be. But
I'm so confident about it.
Yeah, we have a lot of international teams that come. It gets pronounced every way that you could imagine, so it's all good.
Okay, well, that actually is a great segue. We'll just roll straight into it. So why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and all about ESRA and IREC?
Sure, yeah. So I'm a volunteer with the ESRA organization. That's the Experimental Sounding Rocket Association. And that organization hosts IREC, the International Rocketry Engineering Competition. This has been going on since 2003. But the idea is to help foster rocketry at the collegiate level and have student teams from across the globe come compete at a location, different categories with their rockets. And for me, this year, I've been a judge for a couple years, but I've been a competitor in the past. It's been great for me personally and career-wise. It's gotten me a lot of places where I'm right now. Personally, I'm a propulsion engineer at Blue Origin. But for a lot of the students who come in, it's a great first experience to get into rocketry, and we get to be, the volunteers that help them out and support them on their way. And this year we're doing it in Midland, Texas, which is a new place for us. I've usually been at Spaceport America for the past, 10, almost, it's got to be 7 years. And so this year, new location, new waiver, going up to 100,000 feet. Could be pretty exciting. Some pretty impressive student teams coming this year to take full advantage of that. And I'm just a volunteer that's doing judging, live stream, actually running the waiver this year by chance, and anything else I can do to help out.
Right on. Yeah, it's a super cool competition. I was invited to come, but unfortunately, being in the midst of trying to not spend money to move and also having back-to-back rocket trips, I'm kind of spread too thin financially. So maybe next year I can make it out. It'd be really cool. There's a lot of really cool projects. But why don't you go ahead and there's a couple different categories, right? And or I guess not categories, but maybe classes is correct.
We call them kind of categories. So yeah, student teams, they come in, they compete at different call them categories. There's altitude categories, and then there's propulsion categories. So students they can go into 3 propulsion categories. We do solid COTS, SRAD COTS, SRAD solids, which is student research and developed solids. So making your own motors. We have a liquids and a hybrids. And then there's a COTS hybrids, since you can get contrails. Not a lot of people do that, so we kind of just have those 3. There's technically that 4th, but and then there's an altitude category. So in the past, it's been going up to the competition is kind of based around student teams trying to hit certain altitudes, and so one of them is 10,000 feet, and the other one has been notoriously 30,000 feet. This year, with the altitude adjustment and the waiver increase, we're doing a 45K category. And then there's also, which isn't really a category, but it's just a demonstration flights, is up to 10,000. So we only have, we think we have 2 teams who are going up to like 66 and 80,000. But yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of rockets that we're going to be seeing there this year.
Cool. If we can step back for just a second, COTS, I assume, is COTS, commercial off the shelf?
Yep. Got it.
Cool. So for anybody wondering, while O3400s and N5800s and N1560s are very scarce right now, if you're wondering where they all go when they do come in stock, it's to all the college teams.
Yeah. We tell the teams if they're doing COTS, because it's like 130, like majority of the teams are doing COTS. And that's like 100 teams. And so we tell them pre-order months in advance. Wildman Rock, I think it's Wildman this year, but whatever the case may be, pre-order your motors way in advance, because a lot of the teams end up using the same motor across the board. If you're going to 10K, there's only so many different ways you're going to do it, and so they run out really quickly.
Yeah, it's the scarcity of big CTI stuff is kind of a problem in its own right. So I can only imagine. I mean, we've all seen plenty of rocketry forum and Facebook group posts where student teams are like, "Hey, does anybody have an N5800 laying around, please?" Actually, at the time of recording this, Wildman has at least one 03400 in stock. And Taylor, does he have an N5600 in stock still, or did we do something about that?
No comment.
All right. Well, we just to explain to you here a little bit. Taylor built his 5-inch rocket specifically with the N5600 in mind, and even announced on the podcast a few months ago that he was looking for an N5600, and there was one available from Wildman. I don't know if it's gone or not, since Taylor's not playing his hand. But if you throughout the episode feel the need to berate somebody or like apply a little bit of peer pressure, go right ahead, aim it at Taylor, tell him he needs to buy the N5600.
Very deserved. I did say that I would buy it if there was one in stock, so we'll see.
We'll see. You better not wait. Did last time too. But anyway, sorry to completely derail the train here, but that's just a fun little bit of N5600 related lore. But if by the time this still comes out and there's 03400 in stock and you want one, there you go. Pick one up. But all right, so how much info can you give us about the teams that are competing this year and their rockets? Do you have any sort of breakdown that's currently shareable?
It's a little bit. I mean, I don't think I can give personal details on most of each individual rocket, but I will say if you go to the Esra YouTube page, there's for each team, starting in the last couple of years, we've been doing these video safety reviews to make sure teams are coming fully prepared and have a physical rocket and not showing up day of and building it in the desert, because that happened a lot in the past. Very popular, of course, in a lot of launch sites, but we try to prevent that a little bit in the middle of the desert, because it's a little dangerous when you have 120 teams just intense putting together their motors. And yeah, so part of that is the safety reviews that are up on our page. And if you're interested in seeing what teams have been working on, this is kind of the pretty close to culmination of what they've been doing through the year. And it goes through their rockets, goes through all their systems, as much as we kind of ask. And you guys can see, but the breakdown that we're kind of seeing, I guess, in like large scale is 75% doing 10K COTS. We break down a little bit to like 30% of the 100, and we are now at 150 teams are doing, so 70% of the 150 teams are doing 10K COTS. 30% are doing 30K. Sorry, take it back. 70% of our students are going at just 10K altitude. I forget what the breakdown is between COTS and SRAD. 30% of the students are doing 30K. So that's anything. And then we have that last little percent doing the 45K and then some of these high altitude launches. We have two teams that are doing two stage rockets going to 45K. I know that. Don't know what propulsion system they're using. I only know what the teams I'm judging this year are doing, which I probably shouldn't talk about them without their permission, but
right.
Yeah, and butcher what they're doing. But yeah, if you're in Midland during this event, I'd say come down to the convention center on Monday, where all these teams will be out with their rockets, fully happy to talk to you and just talk your ear off about what they've built, what they're working on, and answer all the questions that you have about their rocket.
Awesome. That was actually going to be my next question. Is it like, can spectators just go? Is this open to the public or?
Oh yeah. So there's a spectator ticket now. In the past, it's been one of those things where it's like, yeah, anyone can show up. We don't expect you to show up because it's in the middle of the desert. Who's going to drive an hour out there to see this except the family and friends of the Rocketeers, because mom and dad really got to see their their kid go launch that rocket. But yeah, we have a spectator area. One thing you can't really do is, even if you're a Triple E, or if you're in good standing with NAR Triple E, you don't really let random people go down the range and go talk with the students or go start touching rockets while it's down there. That's just a safety thing, and it's really where the whole time is really for the students, so we can't have random people coming in with their own rockets, as much fun as that would be. But yeah, there is a spectator area. There'll be food, drinks, and you can watch rocket launches all day long from sun up to sundown, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And you can go talk to the students on Monday and Tuesday, as they crowd into the Midland Conference Center. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah, as they talk about the rocket, that's a good day to go see them. They're all presentable and they're not in the desert sweating it out, trying to get the rocket put together.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, you say who would drive an hour, but if it was only an hour for me, I would definitely go because it's a lot of big motors and a lot of cool flights.
Oh yeah, it's one of the great things about coming back every year is seeing some of these teams who have. Some of them are really impressive rockets, especially a lot of the foreign teams that come in from Australia and Germany and just across the globe. They're putting everything on the line. So these are like year-long projects that they have spent every waking hour they had, putting every bit of engineering effort they could into making their rocket, just be amazing. And so it's really impressive to see those teams. It's impressive to see the new teams that come out who've never done it before, who are like, hey, we just put together kind of like an L3 rocket with a kit, some spare parts. Here's this black powder motor or some that we made. We think it's going to work.
Right.
Here's a sugar motor we tested. Yeah, we mixed it the day of, because we couldn't mix it to bring it across the border, but it'll be all good. And you go see them fly, and sometimes they do great. Sometimes a little Kato happens, but it's a lot of fun, and the energy is really high all the time. So it's great to see.
Okay, well, we have to elaborate here. Have you seen like large scale black powder motors?
I have seen in reports. So it's the teams I've judged in the past couple of years. I've seen teams who have said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna bring a black powder sugar motor," and I don't think they've ever brought it. I think someone in safety probably blocked it down.
Okay.
But teams in some countries will make some crazy motors. You're like, I guess that's okay there, but I think that's not going to fly here. But go for it.
Yeah,
Get to the safety review, see what happens.
Right. Yeah, there's kind of a fine line. I mean, big like powder compressed rocket motors do exist, just largely only in fireworks, but it's always been Taylor and I both have a little bit of a background in making fireworks as well. So I've always been like, man, it would be so crazy to see like a 2-inch diameter black powder motor or something like that.
It's kind of restricted here in the US just because of safety issues. And, I know I'm sure there's other countries that have figured it out, but I know China really has the really huge black powder rockets down, and I'm just for how long they've been doing it, and it's because there's a lot of problems when you upsize a black powder motor, but I would be really interested in knowing what the secret juju is to make that work, because a giant black powder motor would be really cool to see.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. The one team one year that I was judging, I don't think they actually brought the motor, but the report on how they made this black powder motor, I think they're in India, must have been India, or somewhere in Southeast Asia, whereas that's a very common thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
They got charcoal, they ground it up or something. it was taking raw material and making it into it, and I was like blown away.
It's so cool.
And they tested it, and I was like, "That's crazy." I don't
Yeah,
think
I
you're
mean,
gonna get this through customs, but good on
Right,
you for
right.
doing this.
Yeah, well, like Taylor said, China is sort of like the fireworks mecca, but India has a huge fireworks culture too, and they do some crazy cool stuff out there as well. So, yeah, it's always interesting to see the blends of those two worlds come together. And we just had Dean from New Zealand; they just put a rocket in space, and it's always fascinating to see. They obviously had AP based solid propellant, but it's always interesting to see the workarounds based on location to see solving the same problem with what you've got on hand. So that's a really cool aspect of IREC. There's a really good, nice transition there back into the topic, I guess. But
Yeah.
really interesting to see from all around the world the solutions with limited materials and having to manufacture your own parts, where we're here kind of spoiled with hobby rocketry, where we can just buy pre-made stuff right off the shelf like nobody's business.
Yeah, no, it's really impressive, especially a lot of the international teams that come in. A lot of them will pre-order a lot of COTS motors, but some that do like hybrids or try to do liquids or even custom solids. I don't know the challenges of getting that through customs, but they get it through. They do it somehow, and I know it's probably a multi-month long procedure of like they knew what they were going to do months and months in advance to be like, all right, we're gonna spend the time and effort and money to bring this rocket and this propulsion type to the competition. So it's really cool, and I'm really impressed on that side of it. But there's a lot of fun to be had there, and I will say, shout out to any volunteers who want to come join us. They're always looking for volunteers. This year we're in Midland, Texas, but who knows where we are next year. But always fun to do. So.
Is it too late for people to volunteer for Midland?
No. I think we're still taking volunteers. I know we will take volunteers. There's plenty of volunteer work. We need more people to come help us. There's 2,000 students coming down, and like 100 volunteers. We're swarmed.
Oh boy.
I don't think it's 100 volunteers. I think it's lower than that. So yeah, please, if you're listening to this and you're somehow in Midland, Texas, between June 9th, the end of the week, come help us. Come see these rockets, but also come help us.
While we're sort of plugging there, where do people go to buy tickets if they do want to spectate?
Yeah, if they want to come spectate, I will say it's cheaper to just be a volunteer, but if they want to buy tickets, you can go to our website. It's soundingrocket.org. Should be a link there to this year's competition and where to get tickets.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great point. It's kind of like I used to be in a band. I still kind of am, but there's a big music festival in Boise, Idaho, where I'm from, and my favorite part of playing that festival was that I didn't have to pay for the week-long pass. So slide that same concept over if you just want to go watch a bunch of cool rockets fly. All you gotta do is donate a little time.
Just donate a little time. You get free snacks, free food.
Oh, dang! There you go. They hook it up. What kind of volunteer positions are you guys looking for? Like, what would people be doing?
I think it's almost to the end of the month, but if you're probably too late for this one, but judging is a really big one. Actually, I think it'd still be okay if we had some late volunteer judges, because there's a lot of teams to judge. Judging, there's just general volunteer work, day of, for like getting people through sign-ins and stuff like that. I know our live stream team, they can always use help. Even if you have no experience on anything like that. That's a big thing about this. We will take almost anyone. If you have rocketry experience and you have a EEE card or NAR card, awesome. That's great. But we don't necessarily need it for some of the positions. So there's almost all the positions that we kind of can take from general public are open right now. And if you do have a EEE or NAR card, you can help with range operations, safety, or rocketry safety reviews. And you're a level 2 or 3. Yeah, can help you. We'll take you.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm curious, what exactly is the like judging criteria? What are you guys
Yeah,
looking
that's
for?
what I was
and
going to
what?
ask.
Yeah, same here.
So there's a couple things. So there's before they even get to the event, uh, teams have gone through a couple midpoint check-ins to make sure that they've they're on track, that they're completing certain milestones, which is just like, hey, what's your rocket type? Are you you know are you simming it right? Is this coming down safely, or are we going to have an issue? That's a couple points there and there. But the big thing closer to the event is they have a big technical report, and you can actually look at these on the website. Also, teams will put together a report, good 40, 50, 100 page report on their rocket that will go to as much detail as they want. More detail, the better, as I say, about their rocket. And there's a kind of template, but we pretty much we want to know everything you want to share about it. And the more you share and more detail, more engineering rigor you put into your rocket, better points you do. Those are some of the big criteria. And then when you're in the competition, so when you actually made it day of, you've got a physical rocket, better have a physical rocket. Because the next two things are, judges will come up to you and actually talk to you about their rocket, and try to get a sense of, okay, do you actually know what you've done? You didn't outsource this, or just had some guy in the background do all the work, and you just have some nice pretty people presenting. We want to know if the rocket's actually built, what it's doing, again, and just like make sure it's all there. And then the last big thing that's really worth all the marbles, I will say, is really your flight. Like everything, comes down to the flight. That's a make or break for a lot of teams. So, depending on what your category you're going for, there's accuracy, and then there's like simulated accuracy. So you really want to hit as close as you can to 10K. Or if you're doing 10K, 30K if you're doing 30K, or 45K if you're doing 45K. And we have students, they all have to be they can use their own custom-made flight computers as backup, but we need to have like a standard off-the-shelf, something they can buy that we can verify is not being messed with, altimeter, that we can pull data from. And we'll see, based on what they said they were going to hit and what they actually hit, how close they were to their own predictions and how close they were to their her category. And that's the big one. And then, of course, we also judge, did it come down safely? Did it come back in one piece? How bad's the damage? If there is damage, could it refly? And there is a separate a category and a separate award for payloads, which isn't really part of our overall IREC thing. But we have a separate group that does a payload challenge that if teams do payloads, they get extra points for doing payload.
And when that go
Awesome.
into their like overall score, or is that a totally separate thing?
There's a totally separate thing just on payload alone.
Okay.
We give them an extra 50 bonus points if they've done a payload that meets the standard CubeSat form. But in the total scheme of things, it's not as big as really you got to hit your target and come down safely, and that you've done a good report and that you've actually brought a rocket.
With the
Oh, go ahead, Shane.
with the altitude aspect of it, is it like a Price is Right type thing where it's closest without going over, or is it closest either side?
Closest either side. There's a little fall off zone. So it's if you go really low, you just kind of get a big fat zero. We're going to go over, and we kind of calculate that in, but it's closest to either side. And big part for a lot of student teams, I will say, is hitting that like as accurate as they can be. There's separate little like sub awards that we give out for team spirit and just engineering rigor. Don't really come as like a total prize, but it's just like, hey, you did really good on this. One of them is forgetting her name, but it's just a simulation award. So teams in the past, hitting 10K for a lot of Rocketeers, right on the money. Maybe hit it once and twice. There are teams who will hit it dead on and their simulations will be like 0.0001% off of their actual value.
Oh my God.
And we've had
Jesus.
teams, it has come down to like not one, like the first 10 teams not being like 5% difference. It's like 1% difference. That's the engineering part of it. Teams are they will put in any systems to try to hit that category's altitude as best they can, and you'll be surprised how close they get. Keeps on getting
That
better
is
each year.
nuts. Wow. That's so crazy. Interesting. Okay. Well, so with the high altitude flights, you were talking about one team going to 80. Is that sort of just like an exhibition thing, or is that last category just kind of as close to your sim as possible, or something along those
That's
lines?
just an exhibition flight. So to bring it back to like this year specifically, and past competitions. For the past competitions, we've been stuck at 30K for a couple years now. Actually, for 7 years, being at Spaceport America. One of the big reasons we wanted to move out of Spaceport America, even though it's a great place to launch rockets, got obviously Virgin Galactic there, Pluto Aerospace, and Venus Aerospace, I guess now, launching out of there. So it's kind of cool, and it's great for student teams to see
Spin
actual
launch.
Yeah, a spin launch. Yeah, you pass by
Yeah.
it on the way in. I haven't seen one of their launches in a while, but they
Yeah,
limited
shout out
us a
to-
little.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no.
I was just going to give a plug to my own podcast, Space for Improvement, with Joe
Yeah.
Barnard. We just did an episode on spin launch, and that company is chaotic. It's so crazy. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's cool to see. But no, one of the things with Space for America is we couldn't really set our altitude waiver to anything higher than what we had. And so going into this one, we wanted to shoot a little higher. And so we gave the category 45K, but we didn't know if we could go higher. And so one of the things I did this year was I talked with the FAA, figured out our launch area, and determined, oh, you know what? We're going to go, well, I just asked for as high as I thought I could get, which was 100,000, and just brute forced it a little bit through. But, and so that's why we have 100K. And then I was like, okay, a team was like, well, can we use that and go launch? There's no category, but we're like, yeah, go ahead. Hopefully maybe next year we'll get a little bit more higher altitude category, since we know we have that waiver, for now. But I'd like to push it higher eventually.
I back that mentality a lot. Like, that's
Yeah.
there, use it. I don't want to win. I just want to fly super high. That'd be me if I had someone else paying for my project.
Yeah. No. I definitely would do it also. I mean, this year we got, which I don't think we're going to do, but it's definitely for next year. The Saturday before the event starts, or the Sunday before the event starts, sorry. I was able to secure extra waiver time. It doesn't go to 100K yet. I'm going to push for that.
All right.
But it goes to 18K, which is still pretty good. So it's originally it was supposed to be for teams, and I think Aerotech was going to come down and like do some kits with some teams, or just do like L1 and L2 certs. I don't know if we're going to do that this year, but most likely going to do it next year. And we'll be a little more open, I think, because it'll be a little more, it's not really a competition, and I'll just open up the waiver and maybe make it like a
Awesome.
little unofficial Triple E launch. But yeah, that's hopefully we'll get to do this year. We'll get to do next year. But we have that opportunity going forward, which is really cool.
Right on. That is super cool. And also, there's a ton of Triple E and NAR prefects hearing you say you brute forced the waiver to 100,000 that are about to contact you about negotiating their waiver with the FAA.
Yeah, I have a story all about that. I don't know if you ever dealt with the FAA on getting like the waivers. I talked with a couple years ago when I was trying to set up my own little launch site in Colorado with some land that I with FAR about how they got their waiver, and I found out a lot of information and figured out how you can proceed with these kind of crazy requests to the FAA. It seems kind of crazy, but legitimately the FAA wants you to, as long as you're being safe, they're going to try to work with you and make sure you can fly. And as long as you give them enough information and you're not in a crazy like area that's going to really interrupt stuff, you can get away with some pretty high altitude launch sites, even in places where you think, oh, this is not going to work. Midland, Texas seems like there's nothing out there. There is some, some flights going on up overhead. So they're being interrupted by our flight, our launches. There's a military plane. No, there's a military flight path in that area. We're interrupting them. But we're still able to, with long discussions, a lot of meetings with some people, and a little bit of pressure on some people on Capitol Hill. You can get, they'll move into gear and you'll get your waiver.
Yeah, simple, no problem.
Yeah.
What FAR has the benefit, which just seems counterintuitive, but the benefit of being extremely close to Edwards Air Force Base, which is, a fairly locked down airspace in the first place. So on the weekends when there's no training going on, that sky's pretty clear over there.
Oh yeah, that was what my whole was like. How are you getting this with there's an active military airspace in your area? Like you definitely are going in that with some of your some of the launches could definitely go into there, fall onto the base. Based on the FAA's own recommendations on like zones.
It is cool though being out there too with Mojave. You get a lot of kind of weird flyovers every once in a while because the Mojave Air and Spaceport is there. We were out there for a launch at FAR one time. The Stratolifter was just kind of cruising around. And I was like, that's nuts. Thing's huge.
Yeah,
pretty wild.
Cool. The Rock Talon.
Yeah, I was going to say that's two different things, right? Well, is Stratolifter the name of the plane that I don't know.
I thought the Rock was the giant double fuselage vehicle.
Yeah, that's for sure what I'm talking about. Ignore me. It's real space stuff.
That sounds a little hypersonic vehicle that's underneath.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, well, you mentioned, obviously that you have competed in IREC before and that you're a propulsion engineer for Blue Origin. So I think we've got all the stuff about IREC hammered out, unless Shane or Taylor have further questions or if there's something you are contractually obligated to mention or anything like that.
You mentioned a couple times that, as long as people bring the rockets or stuff, the way you said that made me I have to ask, were there situations where people showed up without a rocket?
Yes. Yes, people have showed up without a rocket and expected to like build it the day, they ordered a kit or something and they're like, oh, the parts are coming, don't worry. and we're building it. And a lot of teams, this happens, is especially if they ship their rocket down because sometimes it takes a little, they ship it to an Airbnb, they ship it to a hotel, wherever. Show up right on the day they were supposed to, so they might not show up on like the check-in day of like where they're supposed to show the rocket, and then they'll show up the next couple days. It's like, hey, we're here, we're rocket, oh sorry, we overslept or something, we missed that. And it's like, okay, you clearly forgot it. It did show up, or at least sometimes they'll be honest and they'll be like, oh, our rocket, it's back at the hotel, we're assembling it right now. And it'll be like a couple days later, they'll actually show up. So
that's crazy.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. We've had issues in the past with the deployment testing happening in places it shouldn't happen in.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
I would say in Las Cruces, there's a lot of places. You're all surrounded by a lot of Bureau of Land Management, BLM land. Go out there.
So not hotel parking lots, maybe is what you're implying
please
there?
Do not. To all the teams who probably will never listen to this, but hopefully do, because please do not come to the competition expecting to go, deployment tests in the parking lot of your Holiday Inn. We will get calls. People will find out. It is not a good look. Yeah, that has happened a lot.
Oh, a lot. That's so crazy.
We have to say this every year. The thing is, new students come in from their teams, like who have no idea what the last team did and are new to the event, even though the teams, the college has been there before, and teams will do it again and again. It's like, oh, sorry, I've never been here before.
It seems like a fairly common sense one that you shouldn't be ejection charge testing in a parking lot or hotel's lawn. Wouldn't really need a rule explanation on that one, but hey, that actually does beg the question then before we move on. And I'll let Shane ask if you have anything, but what is, without naming names or universities or anything, some of the kind of craziest stuff, whether it be something like that or flights, whether good or bad, you've seen out there over the years?
I won't name any names. I think some of the best colleges that I've seen, there's been some beautiful, if you've seen some of the hybrid launches when they go off, they sound super cool. Those are awesome to hear and see, because they put in a ton of effort in that. And those are awesome to hear. We have seen teams just halo off the pad. Those are awesome. I will say my college, the year that I did not go, the year before I joined the club, but I did not go, our motor just destroyed itself off the pad. It was bad grains that should have not been, I'm not going to say anyone's name or any of the vendors, but our team should have looked at the grains, saw the voids, and said, hey, this is going to blow up, and gave it right back to the vendor, and then got a different motor, but they did not do that. And so there's a slow-mo video of it's out there on the YouTube page of our Rocket specifically, just completely tearing itself apart right on the rail. Amazing.
That's tough. Shane, did you have anything?
No, I don't.
Okay, so why don't you give us a little bit of your background through hobby rocketry and your competition at IREC and how you wound up where you are?
Sure, yeah. So I'll go back a little bit to high school and then I'll jump ahead to college. But I started, like a lot of people do, with TARC, with some freshman whose dad was really into rocketry. I think he did Red Glare. I wasn't aware of that, but at the time. But I remember doing TARC, little rockets, in high school for a bit. Didn't think much of it. I did remember Steve E's Saturn V's that this guy had on his TV every time we went over to his house to build. So that was really cool.
Nice.
I just remember going to this guy's basement, building this little rocket, and him having that on the video for whatever reason all the time. I guess just to inspire us, but
yeah. I mean, it is sick.
Was it always the same video?
I think it was like this super master cut of everything that was going on. I can't really remember.
Okay.
But
it would just be very, very funny. It's always the Steve Eves Saturn V every time.
I was gonna say, because there was a Rockets magazine, didn't they do a DVD just for that event?
I think that must have been it, because it was definitely a DVD or something like that. It definitely wasn't. It was too late to be a VHS, but
that's awesome to just loop it.
Well, it makes it. If it was a DVD, he could have had it in whatever it was playing from, and so it just popped it on every time. But it's very funny. Yeah. It is inspiring, but it is funny.
Yeah. But anyway, I didn't think much of that till I got to college, where there was a college rocketry team that had just kind of started, and they were building L3 style rockets for IREC, which I thought was like, oh crap, this is so much bigger than the little TARC stuff. I didn't even think this was a thing I could do in college. So I was drawn to that right away. And that's where it kind of started for me in terms of actually following this as a career, and getting really involved in more high-powered hobby rocketry. And I will say, for my college experience, start off with a really ambitious L2 minimum diameter, 32K altitude rocket that never launched because it probably would have destroyed itself off the rail. But I still have the rocket. I still have the motor case. I have all the equipment. And one of these days I'll find a launch site that I feel comfortable enough possibly just destroying this, beautiful rocket. Because it had a really nice paint job, and I kind of feel bad about just destroying it, but I should do it one of these days.
That's fair. Wait, real quick, where are you based out of?
So when I went to college, I was in Rochester, so I went to RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology. I right now physically I'm in Van Horn, Texas. I'm at Launch Site 1.
Nice.
Which is just random because usually I'm in Cape Canaveral, out of Blue Origin's Rocket Park facility there. So I'm all over.
Gotcha. I was gonna say there might be a good club near, but Florida's kind of struggling right now.
Florida is struggling
high-power
right
launch
now.
sites.
I have found the last launch site. It's an hour south of me. Spaceport Rocketry Association. Couldn't go to the SRA launch this month because they moved it back, but that's a cool place to go launch. Unfortunately, that is like one of the last places in Florida to go launch high-powered rocketry at, and so they are overwhelmed. I'll put it that way. I think they would agree.
I bet, yeah.
There's a lot of student teams out there, as you can imagine, getting ready for IREC that are trying to launch, and there's everyone in Florida who's, especially right on the Space Coast, of course.
Right.
A lot of people want to do that. So hopefully they'll keep on going, but hopefully it'll be a little less overwhelming sometime ahead of the summer. I'll do my L2. But yeah, no, college rocketry did my started with an L2, moved its way up to our IREC rocket, which was called Blackout. It's on our page. We went from doing buying everything off the shelf to okay, well let's make as much as we can, except the motor. So we ended up winding our own carbon fiber tubes, figuring out how to do a carbon fiber layup on the nose cone, machining a lot of the bulkheads, making our own flight computer. Obviously we had to use our own COTS, but going as much as we could. Except the problem was COVID. So
yeah,
that was
that did get in the way.
That did get in the way, but as the team lead for that IREC competition that year, I was dead fast in trying to launch it. So we went Rochester, New York, home of ERG, or an hour south. So went and launched that rocket. Went well. Main did not deploy, unfortunately, but carbon fiber didn't matter.
Came down fine.
It was fine. That was cool. It was a fun little payload in there. I won't say what was in there, but since we weren't flying in IREC, I was like, we don't really need a serious payload. We just need something with some weight. And so yeah, the team kept on growing. We came back, I think, the next year. Say it's Void or Kong. I'm sorry to my IREC, to my RIT launch members, if I'm forgetting which one came before the other. And I'm also going to forget which year, but we won the payload competition 2 years after. Yeah, I think it's Kong. It's got to be Kong, King of the Sky. And that's my last year part of the team. And then I joined company, but I also joined as a volunteer with ESRO. So coming out of college, I had done a lot of cool projects with my rocketry club. Made my own motors, liquid and solids. Really loved the propulsion side of things. Really wanted to put it in a rocket one of the days, but I ended up going to Colorado, joining a company called Ursa Major, becoming a propulsion engineer and doing a lot of fun stuff there, working on liquid rocket engines and then some solid rocket engines. And that led me, after a couple of years, to working at Blue, where I'm at right now as another propulsion engineer. And like I said, I've been down at the Cape for most of it. Got to see New Glenn, its first inaugural launch. which is awesome to see. And I'm just happened to be down here at Launch Site 1 testing some engines this week. So it'd be a great place to launch some rockets, though. I was kind of thinking about this on the drive in. It's a desert. We launch a rocket. We can launch some other rockets down here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Florida, like in terms of available land mass, you would think has a decent amount of space that one could use for rockets, but a lot of it's privately owned. I'm sure that could make that a bit difficult.
Yeah, it's really going through the swamp. Yeah, Everglades probably not the greatest. A lot more alligators than you think. I would not
Honestly.
want they got a cool spot at SRA. It's like this. I think it's probably some abandoned like housing development that just was all the roads were laid out. The houses were never built, so it's this cleared out area, which is unique for Florida.
Do they call it the compound?
Maybe.
So there was a university that had a bit of an incident there in the recent past.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You know
Yeah, we
exactly.
know what
Okay.
it is.
Yeah.
When I went there, I was like, "Oh, that's from the video. I know exactly
Yeah.
when this happened."
Well,
yeah.
What's really funny is we're very familiar with that place, but because of the automotive world, because it's very renowned for being sort of a unspoken drift location for people to test and tune drift cars and stuff. So a lot of people go out there, and for a while there was a lot of automotive YouTube people posting videos from out there. I think they maybe have cracked down on that just a hair.
I think they have. I don't want to get anyone at SRA in trouble, but that is an amazing launch site. But it's a little you do have. When I was there, this is my first time coming there, and I thought, oh my God, I know that's the place where they almost burned down.
Yeah, that was a bad one, man.
That was really bad. But as we're launching rockets, there's like kids on like dirt bikes and motorbikes just going through the air, doing all this stuff, and there's like because it's Florida, you have people in these kind of like monster trucks who go mudding, and
yeah.
they're crazy cars to begin with, and so they're also driving past, and we're launching rockets just like we're trying to get. They're trying to get through all these student teams are doing L1s, L2s. That just by coincidence, Blue Origin had like a family day that was being there. So a bunch of kids with like little SDs were launching, and every rail was stacked. So the salvos were just go, 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 go to try to get through the day. And there's some police, I think, looking for some other stuff, but it was an experience. I was like, this is Florida rocketry.
That's crazy. I didn't know that there was like actual flying going on there. That would be kind of fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's got an 18,000 foot waiver. I think so. So they got a pretty big waiver. I don't know if I'd fly that high there just cause I'd be afraid of definitely losing my rocket to a gator. Or something.
Dude, it's so I had never been to Florida until a couple years ago. I went to Orlando, and it's like, I kind of thought it was just like a joke that like, oh, there's water in Florida, there's gators in there. It's not. People are like, no, that's actually true. You don't go near that. There's like little kids dying at Disneyland because people feed them and stuff, so they get all confident and come up out of the water. It's insane.
Yeah.
People that live in Florida are a different breed. So
yeah, they are. There's some crazy place. There's like a gator preserve, like 30 minutes outside of Orlando. It's not Gatorland. This is like its own little thing.
Right.
And it's cool. I just went, and but they'll tell you, yeah, don't feed the gators. Don't do that. That makes them really comfortable around humans, and they're always hungry. They will eat you. They don't care. Don't do that.
Yeah, that is insane. I don't. Yeah, but people that like there's so many videos. I know this is a fantastic rocket podcast topic, but so many videos of people that are like way too confident around them too. They're like, oh, I've lived in Florida my whole life, like scooping them up in trash cans and stuff. It's insane.
Oh yeah. No, I mean they're everywhere. There's one. I was leaving work. We have a parking lot. Somehow it got up on the stairs, so our parking lot, like a little like 2-year-old gator. So I don't know how it got there, but you know we have to call someone to get it taken down. But
It's
yeah.
horrible.
That's crazy.
There's also every once in a while, I don't really know. I'm sure it's not as common as gators, but there'll be a news story about a large snake. Are there native snakes that are quite large there?
I think there's some unnamed. I think it's like the python that is like an invasive species that technically is like kind of everywhere in the Everglades.
Makes sense.
I have been lucky to not see any big snakes yet. I've seen gators; they're there, but
I
seen
know there's
some
lots
small ones.
of that stuff down there that I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know if I really want to launch my rocket that high. I'll do a nice little short one, make it really heavy.
Yeah, that's fair. Just, carve out the time for a road trip. That's I've got a buddy in Florida that they just lost their launch site. So I was like, just come to one launch a year, come to Argonia. Just like it's a long drive, but like I don't know if it's longer. Shane and I drive like 20 hours to get there. It's worth it. So if you got the time, highly recommend Airfest. They're actually Tripoli just moved. They had liquid demos planned for balls this year, but they've moved them to Airfest now. So they're going to be demoing some liquid flights at Argonia. Should be pretty
That'd
sweet.
be great to see. Tried to see more liquid flights. Been to far in RS a couple times to see some good flights. Of course, I work on liquid rocket engines, but it's a little different when you see amateurs and college students.
It's really crazy, and it was interesting because last year they did the demos at balls, and Half Cat Rocketry, if you're familiar, was there, and like they kind of set the precedent in like hobby level liquid rocket engines. So, but Shane and I live 2 hours from far, so it was such a novelty to see people being like, oh my God, did you see that? When we're like, yeah, we see it like 8 times a day when we're at far. Those guys are nuts. They just they run it back over and over like it's nothing.
Oh yeah. No, I was there when we were doing for the other thing I volunteer for, which is CPLC, or doing like Berkeley's Hot Fire, and Austin just came up, put his foot on the rail, flipped the fan over, heard nitrous, and it was like done, and then he walked in, it was gone, and it was like, yeah. All
That's
right.
cool.
But
yeah, it's a whole new world, but it is really fascinating to see people sort of getting into it on the hobby level. I don't think it's something that I have any intentions of touching anytime soon, but I'm definitely enjoying watching.
Every college, so I'm in too many rocketry discords, but I love seeing the liquid side, but every liquid rocketry team is like following the Half Cat model because it is so successful, and it's also like a big issue at college levels for any rocketry club is like getting their EHS to like say this is okay, and if they can point to something that is like, hey, these guys did it, they have like this whole document, it's all safe, they've proven this out 100 times, they're like legal to their safety department's like, cool, yeah, follow that, do that seems safe. Don't make your own stuff, that seems scary. But yeah, so
Half Cat quite literally wrote the book on it, so that doesn't get much better than that, and they're really cool guys, so that's cool. But is there anything else you want to point the people to before we get out of here? And then we've got a couple YouTube comments that I wanted to read. You're welcome to stick around for. I don't know how applicable they'll be to you, but you're more than welcome to hang out.
No, I'll end with it by saying to anyone who wants to volunteer now or in the future, SR is always looking for volunteers. But if you're a student or a student team looking to compete, I know it's been a hectic year this year. as we've changed locations, but I can assure you it's going to be quite a spectacular launch this year and even be better next year. So please come back or join us for your first time. We're always happy to have more teams. One of the big things about coming to Midland is we actually have more space. So we were a little bit limited in the past. We're hoping to expand to as many more teams this next year and following years. And so come on down or sign up, volunteer. It's going to be an amazing launch.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been awesome. And hopefully some people hearing this go check it out or volunteer.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, take it easy.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
You too.
Okay, let's read a couple of YouTube comments and then we'll get out of here. One of them I wanted to read because it comes from our friend and the best LCO ever to do it, Terry Smemo.
Oh, wow.
So,
Uh-oh.
Terry, if you're listening, if you want to be on an episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast, please come join us. It would be awesome. This was on the Odd Rocks episode, and he says, Odd Rocks, you want to talk about Odd Rocks? Hold my beer. I've seen a lot. 1999, someone flew a gigantic spool, think a lineman spool, 48 inches in diameter on 4 M's. Someone else flew a huge tetrahedron on a really loud M. 4 M's is crazy.
Yeah.
Seems like it went 800 feet and deafened the crowd. Some joker named Randall flew a mannequin several times. Any ideas on that one, Taylor?
Well, I'll give credit where credit is due. My grandpa was not the first person to fly a mannequin, and he only did it once. But I cannot think of the guy that did it successfully many times.
Yeah, he was on the Discovery Channel with it. Mitch Bose flew a shop vac. Mark Grant flew a fantastic metal saucer. The shop vac's crazy.
Yeah.
Jay Bailey flew a Christmas candle successfully. Maya Rittmiller flew shoes for industry, a pizza pan with radial slits cut into it and smaller slits as well so the metal could be folded out, making 16 fins. Had a central 54 millimeter motor mount and it spun like mad, but it didn't get very high. Sure was loud. He also flew a cardboard UPS box, triangular prism about 40 inches tall on a single-use K250.
I remember the UPS box or the whatever I remember that. Rocket.
Dude, that's awesome. He even had an address label on it, which was why since he didn't include a parachute. He also flew para-redundant several times. It was a 6-inch airframe with, at last count, something like 120 parachutes and women's undergarments attached to a 150
I
foot
remember that
cord.
too. That was like iconic.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Flew on a K550, not exactly an odd rock, but it sure wasn't normal. That is a good point. Jacob Pursley made it and flew a fantastic fiberglass football odd rock on a pair of I-200s. Oh, was this on one of the Discovery Channel shows? I feel like I've
familiar.
seen that.
Yeah.
It actually lit the farm on fire at one of the Fire on the Farm launches in Iowa.
Oh my God.
He also flew an enormous 7.5-inch nose cone just by itself. Oh, dude, I have a bunch of nose cones. Maybe I should get into that.
Yeah.
But his best odd rocks were a pair of Lego rockets. Sure, they looked like rockets, kind of, but they weighed a ton and needed lots of power. He planned to do his level 3 out of Lego, but needed a sponsor, spelled with $3 signs. Yeah, you think rockets are expensive? Build them out of Legos. That's a good way to make it way more expensive. What were you going to say, Taylor?
I remember the Lego rocket. I think I've talked about it before, but
Dude, we need to get Matt into the Kinects rocket.
Yeah.
In my time, I flew a Christmas centerpiece made out of 3 candy canes, a number of ornaments, and a 6-inch penguin on a G80. Flew great, but it shattered on landing. It was 10 below freezing. Oh my God.
Jesus.
I also successfully flew a finless traffic cone. Took me several iterations, but I finally figured it out. And Bob Brown had to issue a public apology to me over the PA since he had said earlier I'd never get it right. It flew great on J motors.
yeah, I remember some of the attempts, and they were not pretty.
I also made an Easter egg rocket out of a large lawn ornament plastic egg and a central 38 millimeter motor mount with another plastic egg, think legs container on top. Flies great on a J, and I still have it. I made a pumpkin rocket out of a large plastic lawn ornament with single-use fins. Only flew it once and really didn't have it dialed in. It cleared the rail and did about 20 high-speed spins while mostly staying in one place about 20 feet off the ground. But I'm confident it could be perfective. That Camberg's pumpkin flies pretty good most of the time. It was a real crowd pleaser. I also made a rocket out of a picnic set from Walmart, cut the plates and turned them into 3 fins, used foam to hold 2 tumblers together with a central 29mm motor mount. There's another tumbler above that with a goblet minus the platform base as a nose cone. It flew around 30 times on G motors. A motor that was missing its ejection charge killed it. Dang. Dude, this makes me really want to do the dollar store rocket challenge where we each get like $5.
Yeah.
And let's adjust for inflation. We'll make it 10, but you can only buy stuff at like Family Dollar or Dollar Tree, and we'll fly like H220s. Can't have it be too easy. He continues. I have a 20-inch plastic penguin that would fly great, but they are rare and expensive, so I decided to keep it on my porch instead. That's fair. But I saw a 48-inch version on someone's front yard that was begging for me to steal it and convert it into an odd rock. But uncharacteristically, I resisted. They moved away, and I've never seen another one. Drat. Dude, we should find him one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would like to see that. I don't know. I couldn't come up with words, but yes, I agree.
He says, new business. I've always wanted to make a 2-stage odd rock, an orange barrel staging to a traffic cone. I'm thinking an M to a J or K.
I had to discuss, me and Terry discussed this at Cloudburst a couple years ago, and I was ready to go all in.
Dude. He said, I had this idea a long time ago and even came up with the name The Safety Rocket, but somebody named Trojanowski borrowed that name for one of his single-use projects that filled the dumpster at an Airfest years ago. Those aren't my words, Kevin. Those are Terry's. I have the orange barrel and the traffic cones if you're interested. Dude, we could give it the old college try.
Yeah.
I have ideas for 1 or 2 dozen more odd rocks, but I no longer have the physical ability to make her fly them. But if you need ideas, let me know. Maybe we should. We should just make all of Terry's odd rock dreams come true.
That would be kind of fun if we just got the list of Terry's odd rocks and we just go through it, trying to make each one happen.
That would be, first of all, a really good series of videos, I'm sure, at the very least. Okay. Thanks for writing in, Terry. If you want to tell us about your odd rocks or anything else rocketry related, send us messages, ask us questions, do so by sending an email to contact@aggpodcast.com or leave a comment on YouTube or in the description of whatever your preferred podcast listening application is. Click send us a text message. Actually, I didn't check the fan mails. Let me make sure we don't have any. Okay, good. Lundy's Den says, I built my level 3 comp 5 using only Aeropoxy. It worked great. Flew on a CTI M2250R, working on all carbon Mach 3 minimum diameter with only Proline M1850. This was when we were talking about expanding into the world of Aeropoxy. Okay. Taylor, do you remember a few weeks ago we did a podcast episode where we talked about rocketry terms that are important for you to know? Somebody had a bit of a typo, and it said launch lungs instead of launch lugs. To which you replied, and Rod Thomas sent this button. I do love me some launch lung.
Wait, I said launch lung?
Yeah, you said I do love me some launch lung because somebody spelled it like that. So for those
hilarious.
just listening, it's just a yellow button that says I do love me some launch lung with Taylor's hair cut into like Bart Simpson level spikes. And my only request would have been for it to be the picture of you talking into the top of your microphone.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny. Wow, what a treat. If you want to send stuff, you can do so by... What was that?
Is that a button?
Yeah, it's a button. Yeah. I think you should have it. So I'll bring it to NSL for you.
Is it vain if I wear a button with myself on it, though?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's fine. I think we all need this on t-shirts.
Yeah.
If you want to send something to the P.O. Box, whether it be a cool button or just a letter or whatever else, you can do so by sending it to, address it to me, Braden Carlson, or to Postart Shane Harris, 16333 Green Tree Boulevard, P.O. Box 2933, Victorville, California, at zip code 923, or nope, yes, 92393. But do that soon, because that's not going to be our P.O. Box here in a couple months, because we're not going to try and be driving up here to go to the post office. Once we're out of here, we're out of here, dude.
Yeah.
It's like when I quit Jimmy John's, I'm never going back. I do go back for a sandwich sometimes, but I'm never going to go work there again. Okay. Do we have anything else, or should we get out of here?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I do want to put a call to action for people that are listening, because it was actually suggested as a lightning round topic, but I think we should use it as at least a really long segment in an episode if we can't dedicate an entire episode to, which I think we can. But I want to have people have the opportunity, because next week there will not be a new episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. Shane and I will be in Colorado after NSL. I'm thinking about rerunning an HDified version of the first episode, because the audio was so bad, and I think I can kind of fix it a little bit now, but we'll see how that works out. However, this gives you plenty of time to consider. And if you want to send an email, contact at aggpodcast.com discussing this, or you can join the discussion on patreon.com/rocketvlogs for free, or you can join the Rocket Vlogs Discord, which is now public, and the podcast discussion is public as well. Anyway, Chase Lang says, easy gourmet camp meals for overnight events. Something I've always wondered what others do. This LDRS, I made double bacon cheeseburgers one night and fried rice and orange chicken the next night. I'd like ideas for other meals that are just as easy.
Matt probably knows
Whoa.
some. He's all Boy Scouty.
Yeah, so we'll have to give him homework, but I think this could be a fun topic to discuss. It seems like way too broad to use in a lightning round one. So bring it to us. Send them in. All right. Let's get out here. My name is Braden Carlson. You can find me on YouTube at Rocket Vlogs. LDRS video is coming soon. It's going to be in quite a few parts. It's a pretty long video. I don't know how many yet, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to start cutting them into 20-minute sections again, instead of doing like 30 or 40 or 50, because the fall off is pretty much exactly the same no matter how long they are. If you want to see the whole thing in advance without ads, you can join patreon.com/rocketvlogs, or click the join button beneath the YouTube videos on Rocket Vlogs, become a channel member. Then that will be out soon-ish. We got home 2 days ago, and we're about to leave for NSL. So it's a pretty packed schedule. Check out Space for Improvement, my podcast with Joe Barnard, where we talk about space. We just talked about Spin Launch. We have some fun episodes coming soon. And follow me on Instagram at BigB1011. That's all I got for you.
And my name is Taylor, and you can find me on YouTube at The Rocket Channel.
My name is Shane, or Postart, and you can find me on YouTube at Postart Propulsions and online at hprtools.com.
We are the Anti-Gravity Group. This is the Anti-Gravity Group podcast, and we will see you all next time.
We might just hear from Nigel the Rocket Cat. Load up the professional masterpiece, you can bet on that. A launch and a chat with them is guaranteed to be a blast. It's the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. Ooh.